blue flowers growing by the purple pond.
When Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb was found early in the 20th century, a wreath of flowers was discovered surrounding the vulture and the cobra, surmounted over the third eye or Ajna chakra position of Tut's outermost sarcophagus. Inside the innermost sarcophagus was found the lotus, or to be more precise, the blue lily of Egypt. This fascinating sculpture was found inside the tomb of King Tutankhamun, showing the young king with an abnormally large cranium rising from the lotus or the lily. A quick trip down to the old Hive Mind encyclopedia reveals this particular plant has psychedelic properties and may have been used as a sacrament in ancient Egypt. I have speculated before that Atlantis is merely a metaphor for a bygone age where mankind lived in harmony with psychedelic substances. A magical and spiritual Atlantis as opposed to a material and technological one. Here we see everybody's favorite chief architect mason, Pharaoh Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten. Akhenaten is possibly the historical face of Moses or Aaron and the great monotheistic patriarch of Masonry, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Just like his kin, Tutankhamun, Akhenaten had a thing for portraying his family with elongated craniums, distorted limbs, and almond-shaped eyes. Other shared interests include the psychedelic blue lily or lotus of Egypt, seen prominently displayed on this wall carving underneath the rays of Akhenaten's solar god, the Aten. The distinctive manner in which the Egyptians portrayed visually the shape of the lotus or the blue lily, the bud of the flower opening with 3 distinct prongs, and also shown in groupings of 3 plants, 1 flowering in the center and 2 buds on either side, may very well have been a very big part of the symbolic progenitor of the winged solar orb and the fleur-de-lis. Egyptian architecture is also replete with lotus and papyrus-style capital pillars. We can distinguish between those with open and closed buds. The flowering of the plant has a telling cycle involving the rising of the bud from below the water to open at a stage in the morning and close in the later hours of the afternoon. This cycle is firmly connected to, and might be the originator of, the primordial mound mythology, but certainly connected the lily to the movement of the cycles of the sun in the ancient Egyptian mind. This relationship between the lotus and the sun gives us another reason to view the winged orb symbol as intimately related to the plant in question. By logical extension, we can connect the staff of Thoth, Hermes, to the lotus, seeing as the staff or wand is just another version of the winged solar disk. This idea is by no means a stretch, and we find Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck overtly connecting the lotus and the wand, and even the twin spiraling animal theme here mimicking, and I currently believe illuminating, the true origins of the caduceus. Again, we see the lotus and Thoth in his ibis animal incarnation. And even further, the Empress card shows the plant in close proximity to both likely candidates for the intended symbolism evoked by the mysterious fleur-de-lis, the lotus and the bee. Atlantis is often portrayed as having a connection to pyramids. This artist in particular has given us a lot of clues to unravel the mystery of the deluge and Atlantis. We find pyramids and lotus capital styled pillars, further even an alder-type gentleman with a staff. And of course the ever-pervasive, overarching meta-theme of flooding and water. The pyramids of the Giza Plateau in Egypt, the psychedelic secrets of Hermes' staff, and their associated histories and creation myths easily cover the themes of Atlantis and the deluge, and vice versa. Atlantis in this context becomes merely the Giza Plateau and the primordial mound legend, rising from the chaotic ocean, rolled into one single narrative, primarily finding its origins in the observation of the cycles of the blue lily. It seems likely that the annual flooding of the Nile, and depending on the disputed age of the pyramids, even possibly the melting of glaciers from the last ice age might have contributed to this submerged pyramid theme. I find some synchromystic connections between the god Thoth and Donald Duck.
This is more like it.
First off, both Thoth in his ibis form and Donald Duck are aquatic birds. Let's also take a quick look at some of the adventures that Donald Duck has gotten involved in over the years. Thoth is a moon god, and we see in this ancient Egypt-themed episode of the late 80s cartoon show, DuckTales, Donald Duck's uncle and nephews trying to save him from a moon cult. Legends also speak of Thoth being the original architect or pyramid builder.
I want a pyramid. I want a pyramid.
This is a Donald Duck Adventures from 2005. Notice also the bee, which we'll see more of in part 2. We should also take note that this duck is dressed like Indiana Jones, which makes him resonate with a grail searcher or an ark raider. This will again become relevant in part 2, where we will see Han Solo, Harrison Ford, our Stargate traveler. Inside this same comic, we see that it is called Donald Duck in the Eye of Ra, and we find our Thoth resonator trying to complete the unfinished pyramid. If we continue to read and look closer, we find the artist has incorporated the triple lotus into this extremely elegant synchromistic affair. And then, as if the universe is answering our synchromistic investigation, we see Donald and Thoth the scribe in the same panel, a direct synchromistic hit. Now that we have the psychedelic lotus and Thoth synchromistically connected to Donald, we can view his other adventures bearing in mind this newly attributed esoteric resonance and draw some intuitive conclusions about possible occult realities concerning these other narratives. Here we find Thoth Duck and his elder relative, Uncle Scrooge, hanging out at Atlantis. Inside this 1954 comic book, we see a fishman Atlantean giving Huey and Dewey a lesson in history, and as is often the case when we learn how to look at these popular culture syncs, it is a far more accurate account than one you're likely to find in a textbook. Donald's nephews have not made their final appearance in these series of videos. A new Hollywood film will help illuminate the ancient Egyptian origins and Giza influence in the biblical story of Noah, another version of the Atlantean or Giza/Lotus deluge metatheme. We see the solar rays of the primary Atenus deity, the sun, shining down on the wizened old man I believe we can now start to recognize as Thoth. The pairs of animals seem most likely to be the zodiac, connected in some forgotten way perhaps to Gemini, and resonate Thoth Hermes, twin-coiled serpent staff. Our biggest clue comes in the shape of the dome or breast of the Capitol building and the phallus of the Washington Monument neatly juxtaposed to the ark. In The Secret Zodiacs of Washington, D.C., David Overson posits that the Capitol dome is the symbol of the half-arch of the heavens. This dome is surmounted by a black statue of the Egyptian goddess Isis. In one picture we have Isis and the pyramid-topped obelisk synchromistically confirming the ancient Egyptian resonance connected to the Ark flood story.
More about that later. Hello and welcome to Fantasia 2000.
Thoth Duck yet again seen here taking part in the Noah Thoth narrative. The traditions of the Ark as a cuboid shape connects the structure back to the sacred Abrahamic holiest of holies worship, evolved, in my current opinion, from the initially secret knowledge of the shape of the Great Pyramid's King's Chamber. For more information on the occult use of the cuboid shape, see the 9/11 Stargate and the Cuboid Stargate videos. And now for the rub. The sphere sculpture at the World Trade Center was intended by the complex architect to represent the Kaaba at Mecca, another Abrahamic Giza-descended cuboid. Finding Donald having an adventure inside the World Trade Center in this Finnish comic from 1990 brings Atlantean Thoth pyramid builder resonance into the 9/11 mega ritual. Eerily, everything comes neatly together in this 1997 translated into English Swedish Disney comic where the light emanating cuboid of Donald's Uncle Scrooge's money bin smashes through the central holiest of holies or middle pillar representing space of the Twin Towers and causes it to collapse.